Welcome to DC.
And here it comes. Swing and a miss. And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Dagger! It's 1974. The Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
Don't like that. I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
Despite all this, despite the churn, my approval ratings keep going up.
We are ready to give our 500% support back to this franchise, back to this city, back to this team after Snyder leaves. And then this is the poo-poo you put on the field.
For the very first time, the Washington Mystics are WNBA champions.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to support fake teams that can't ruin my life.
Did you call bank? I call game.
Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Well, boys, Merry Christmas to everybody that is streaming the show live. We've got about 15 people in here already, which is awesome. TV, the Dark Maga is about to join me here in just a second. And Matt the Met is making a rare end of winter appearance here. Usually we don't get Matt in the mix until somewhere around when when pitchers report. But this is great. We got the baseball crew in the house here. This is great.
I mean, FP's eating crabs at Captain Pell's. Okay, he can't be bothered to show up.
What's up, y'all? Happy to be here. Got to keep the hot stove burning, man. A lot going on. A lot of fun stuff to discuss.
I want to at some point we got to talk about the Commanders. We'll talk about the NFC East in particular because we got the Giants fan here too. I want to get his thoughts on what's happening a little bit north of Philly. I want to talk about Philly too. Stevie, you got a message from Pete and Philly from overseas. I mean, Steve sought out the trash talk. He went straight into it with Pete from Philly, and you said it perfectly in the chat. Very measured response. No panic from Pete from Philly.
I mean, I just wanted. It was my time to shine. Redskins come back, have this incredible victory, and Pete from Philly put it all into perspective when I had zero perspective at the moment, and. But you know what? Pete from Philly is trash, by the way. He's a piece of garbage, okay? Because the more I in the moment was actually tempered in my reaction to, we just beat a backup quarterback. Oh,
no, you weren't. No,
I was. And then the more I step away from that game, I'm with the people that said that was the trademark impressive game of Jaden Daniels' first season. Number one defense. Down 5 turnovers, down by a touchdown, 1:50 left. It had nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. And Kenny Pickett, or whatever his name is, actually played pretty well.
Wait, did you watch this game?
I did.
This I don't want to bury the lead here, but
I did.
How much of the game did you watch?
No. I was glued to it.
Oh, this is Stevie circa 2008.
No, I was on in the theater room, and it was a wonderful game. That was actually, I don't know if FP or anybody caught this. That was the most explosive I've seen Jaden Daniels with his legs since he hurt his ribs. And I had been killing him for weeks. And you guys have been laughing at me saying, I didn't see the same power in the way he ran. I didn't see the same speed. I didn't see the same elusiveness. I didn't see that ability. And man, the best play of that game was that 4th and 11 at the end of the third quarter.
Crazy.
He ran for 30.
Yeah, I mean, just as an impressive run. Can we come back to the Commanders? I actually want to start with baseball. Can we go baseball for just a second here? I want to get Matt the Met in here. The Soto contract. Can we just talk about the Soto contract? Because you could add up top 4 or 5 NFL quarterbacks contracts, stack them on top of each other, and it doesn't amount to what the Mets are preparing to pay.
Listen, there's no logic when you think of this contract. Like for real. Like it doesn't make any sense, right? No one is worth $765 million. Okay. At least with Ohtani, you could say you're getting 2 great baseball players, each at $300 million. So you can make an argument that you pay him $7. Soto's not worth $765 million. But it's the history of whom and against whom they were going up for it. The whole idea is rarely do you get a guy of this caliber who's Hall of Fame trajectory already, who is his comps are Ted Williams when it comes to getting on base and hitting the ball as well as he's hitting.
God.
Okay, look, I know.
Oh my
Matt,
But wait,
don't bury the lead. Are you
all of
going
that-
to regret this contract?
Listen, this is where actually I love this contract. There's the opt-out in 5 years.
Because you're not paying. You're not Steve Cohen.
No, but I'm saying if I get 5 great years out of Soto, and he's eventually
how many titles in 5 years to make this deal worth it? 1? Because then fine.
For the Mets right now, 1. Look, here's the thing. Like, you have to understand, like, you have been the red-haired stepchild and all. No offense to any red-haired stepchildren, all right? Like, my point, in New York City, right, it's always the Yankees, and you're sick and tired of losing to and I'll be honest with you, like, we've beaten the Yankees at getting other free agents before, like Carlos Beltran comes to mind, right? Others who we've competed against. This one feels different. And the biggest difference of this is Steve Cohen's FU money, right? That's really what it comes down to. It's this idea that, like, no, you're not. I'm not going to lose this to you. You want to go 700? I'll go 750. I'll go 750. I'll go 800.
How does anyone's value? And I feel gross just even asking this question. The Nats offered Soto, was it 450 million?
Yeah.
Or 400?
440.
Has he increased in worth $300 million in 2 years?
He hasn't decreased, right? Big thing is he hasn't decreased. Excuse me. He's actually had his greatest offensive production year ever.
Well, I mean, some of that had to do with the Yankees lineup too, right? I mean, it's not like he was doing it by himself.
I mean, batting behind Judge or in front of Judge where he was, right? Of course, he's seeing pitches and the ballpark there, right? There's a lot of arguments that you can make. But what I'm saying is, if at the end of the day, it came down to the Mets beating the Yankees and not losing to the Yankees. That's really what it came down to. And so that he was going to throw any amount of money to make that happen. Soto's not worth 700. But my point is, like, to Steve Cohen, he's worth it.
Well, the short answer is no, he's not worth it. The less short answer is, I mean, we're sitting here, 3 capitalists right here, that you are worth what the market is willing to pay for you. So another team is willing to pay. As we know, the New York Yankees offered him $760 million. Yep. And this was not about 5 minutes. I mean, the stuff coming out afterwards about Soto that.
Oh, be careful here.
You see this one? That he asked for a suite to be included.
Yeah.
And the Yankees balked at that, saying you can have a suite and you pay for it the way Judge did, the way Derek Jeter did. And he was annoyed at that. That is ridiculous to him. Then he didn't like the politics.
Yeah, apparently he got triggered. I don't know if I'm buying. I don't know if I'm buying that, Stevie. You think so?
He can come out and correct the record if he was that bothered by what came out.
Look, if the Mets had offered 700 and the Yankees offered 760 like they did, he would be going to the Yankees. They'd be just fine with the politics. Look, at the end of the day, I do think the suite mattered in the sense of, like, at least being felt like his family was. He's even got some sort of, like, budget for his mom's, like, clothing budget, something like that, like, that's worked in there. Steve Cohen went above and Steve Cohen's a smart guy. The guy didn't become a multi-billionaire. He was like, look, what's a $1 million concession a year? Well, how much does a suite cost me a year? $1 million, $2 million? He's like, I get to beat the Yankees. I get to get this guy. And every free agent that I go after next year, be like, hey, how do you want to play with Soto? For the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to be extremely appealing, right? You want to bat or behind that guy. You want that guy in your lineup. The guy's that he's not nobody's worth 700.
Too much baseball. Too much baseball. Listen, as a very casual Nats fan, it sucks to have Bryce in the division, and now Soto's in the division, Turner's in the division, right? He's affiliated, right?
Yeah.
Like how many times a season are we going to have to look at players that we let walk or we just couldn't re-sign? And I don't think the Nats actually made an offer here, Stevie. I don't think there was anything that came from the Lerners to Soto or to Boris, right, this time around. I think they didn't even bid, right? It's just.
Well, I think once they saw those initial numbers from the other teams, they were never in the same.
Look, the Red Sox were in for $700 million. The Dodgers were in. So, like, at some point, you're like, as the Nationals, like, you're not going to put that much into one guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, 2 days later, though, the Nats win the lottery, right? They had they were, I think, had a 7 or 8% chance of winning the MLB lottery, and they got it. I mean, they'll be drafting first in July. I think the draft is in July. You know, the last time I think they had the number 1 overall, it was Bryce. The one time before that, it was Strauss, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Look, and but the thing is, like, people are saying this is a weak lottery, a weak draft this year. There's not some great players. But look, the every draft, in my opinion, drafts are crapshoots. They don't right? Like, look, baseball especially, which used to have 30 something like rounds, which I don't understand. Who's watching that much college baseball to draft in the 35th round? Mike Piazza came out of the 30 something round, right? Some of the greatest players of baseball don't come out of the first 3, 4, 5 rounds. That's been later. That's been different lately. Like lately, they're recruiting these guys high and then they're pushing them through the system high. But I think you're getting a lot of really quick years of really young players, but then they're burning out, in my opinion. But let's see. Like,
the reality is, I don't care about the draft as a Nats fan. And you know what? We have been stocking up our farm system for year after year right now. You need to go and make a splash. And Nathaniel Lowe at first base is not a splash. It is a drop of piss in the toilet, okay? I need a splash. I need a big...
Are you going after your boy Rizzo? What's happening here?
A little bit, okay? Ooh. And I need someone... There's still a bunch of guys out there that are still free agents that haven't been signed.
I actually was worried that they would sign Alonso. I thought Alonso was going to be one who made a lot of sense. I mean,
now we have our first baseman, but that would have been the splash. Is you've got a young nucleus, and you know what? You're going to draft Jackson Holliday's brother. I can't remember his name, but he's a shortstop. You already have your shortstop of the future. So these are now you need to flip that pick for.
I'm just surprised. I'm surprised you're going after Rizzo like this.
It's time for. I'm tired of wasting money on these
but
games.
You won 60-something games last season, right?
They won 50 games.
In his defense,
Rizzo's
right now.
Hold on.
Right now, no. In Rizzo's defense, no. The NL East, it doesn't make sense to get aggressive right now because look, the Braves have a couple more years left. They have got about 3 to 5 more years. Listen, 3 to 5 more years. The Phillies are on the back end, like at least, I mean, they've still got Harper, Turner, whatever. And now the Mets are paying $1 billion a year in free agents. Like, what are the Nats going to really do to get into that mix? Right now, it probably doesn't make sense. So you play back, you pile up bunch of young guys for now, and in 3 to 5 years, you take another stab at it. Right now in the NL East,
jack up ticket prices.
I agree with that.
What about the Braves? What are the Braves going to do?
Nothing. They haven't
Wasn't that a team that was peaking or starting to rise?
And they still are. Like, with all the injuries that they had, they won 93 games last season, right? They got in. They just need Acuna to be healthy. Yeah. They need Matt Olson to be healthy.
The Braves are stacked. Yeah. Even losing Max Fried and we signed Soroka.
Yeah.
We signed Soroka, who was good 7 years ago and 18 injuries ago. Yeah. Signed him to a 1-year deal.
Well, why don't you make a call, Stevie, or go run into Mike at the coffee shop that you both frequent?
They closed down Phil's because all the liberals that were ransacking it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can wear the dark MAGA there, though. You gotta be careful with the dark MAGA.
You'd be surprised. Okay.
Let's enough baseball. It's the longest 13 minutes of my life. Let's switch into the Commanders. Okay, so Matt, did you watch any of this Eagles game on Sunday?
I did. I'm more of a red zone guy usually, right? Okay. But I did watch some of the
red zone. You would have seen a lot of Jaden Daniels.
So a lot of Jaden Daniels, a lot of Saquon Barkley at the beginning, though. Not gonna lie. So Jalen Hurts get hurt. And then I said, the Redskins can pull this game. Like, the Redskins can win this game. I really felt that. I felt that once I saw Jalen Hurts get hurt, I was like, the Redskins are actually going to win this game. I remember looking at Christopher, who was down. I'm like, dude, Christopher, watch the Redskins. Look, I'm impartial here. I saw the last play. I yelled, false start. That's what I yelled. I know, like, it was a false start. Look, I don't care that
every week, all game long.
It happens every week, and there's usually movements less egregious than that get called. That's the only frustrating thing, right? I'm happy to see the Eagles lose. I'm not going to stand here and be like, I'm upset.
I cannot believe you're taking this line.
Look, my only line is I was surprised.
The Chiefs, the refs overturned a fumble for 6 points for a touchdown and gave it back to Mahomes and said sorry to him. Here you go, sir. Here you go.
All I'm saying is I was surprised it wasn't called. I'm not mad it wasn't called. I'm not mad it wasn't called. And I think to Jaden Daniels' credit, that is the best game that he's played. He still had to face the Eagles defense, right? Like Jalen Hurts does not line up against him, right? So I think in that regard,
5 turnovers is a big deal too.
So the 5 turn, like to keep your head in the game, to still come out with a win on that, to be in position to make that, to have that last play, false start or not. But my whole thing was like, oh, they didn't call it. All right. I kept thinking the flag was coming. It never came. Hey, so be it. Great win. I just don't think this is the first time you guys have beaten somebody that you shouldn't have beaten. Right? It's the first game all season.
No, they weren't expected to beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Early. It was much
that early version of the Bengals, though. I think a lot of people weren't you didn't know what to make of them, right?
Sure.
Joe Burrow's playing out of his mind, but the rest of the Bengals are trying to give it away.
The Bengals are still better than their record. I just believe that.
I agree with that.
I think they can turn it on, and they're still mathematically, I think, still in the mix right now for the playoffs.
The most impressive thing coming out of Sunday, yes, Jaden Daniels obviously was the headline, but the what I hadn't seen before was the coaching staff's ability to make in-game adjustments so quickly from the defensive side and Joe Witt. I mean, they shut down Saquon after that first quarter.
After the first quarter, yeah.
I mean, it was like he had
a lot of that had with Jalen. A lot of had to do though with the quarterback going out, right? Like at that point, I mean, I think all of us actually would make that call. If you're Joe Witt and Jalen is gone, Pickett's coming in. Okay, like we're gonna sit back. You're gonna have to beat us. You're gonna have to beat us with your arm. You're not gonna beat us. Saquon's not gonna beat us.
That first quarter, they could have put 17 guys on the field, and they couldn't stop Saquon Barkley.
That's fair, and it's on Sirianni and the offensive coaches of the Eagles for getting away from their game plan and putting too much on Kenny Pickett to deliver. I mean, again, like I don't want to be a super homer here, right? But if Devonta Smith catches the ball, game's over, right?
Yeah.
It just that's the way it. But okay, the flip side of that is, what is the probability of B-Rob having 2 really big turnovers, given the season he's had with basically 0 fumbles, and going back into last year, 0 fumbles, right? The running back we had that fumbled all the time is now in New England, right? In Antonio Gibson. He's not here anymore. B-Rob is a very sure-handed running back. 2 is very fluky, but, it happened. The pick that Jaden threw late in the fourth quarter, on the pop-up, it happens. Like he's missed I don't want to be too critical here of Jaden, but he misses in the middle of the field high with some regularity. I know FP he's going to, when he hears this, he's going to call me. But if you look at the stuff that he's throwing across the middle of the field, usually to Ertz is usually jumping to get it. And when it tips and it turns into a tip drill, all bets are off at that point. But to the sideline, the touchdown to McLaurin was perfect. The 2 to Crowder were great, and Oz doing what he does. Nobody expected that out of Oz. Like I didn't know he had speed to get away from defenders.
Well, the deep ball to Diami when they were backed up on the goal line. Right. That was the play before McLaurin's touchdown. I mean, he made some big boy throws, and some of the Lattimore PI calls were kind of nonsensical. I thought they got a consistent pass rush. I thought the pass rush was good enough. I thought Frankie Louvu he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Him and Dante Fowler too.
Yeah,
they're seem to be all over the field at all times.
It's tough to have an MVP right now on the defensive side of the ball, right? Just for me, like I was struggling with this the last couple of days. Like who is the one person that you want? Statistically, it's Bobby Wagner because of the just the sheer number of tackles and the impact he's had overall on the defense. But I think I would have to vote for Louvu. I mean, he's like the emotional leader of the team. I mean, he's involved in everything. He's got the coach doing the woo-ha in the locker room. He's got the guys on the field, fired up. He's in the backfield constantly, right? I mean, he is a really good football player, with a lot of room still to grow and kind of really find his place. And he's learning from one of the best to do it in Wagner. Wagner, it's very reminiscent of what London Fletcher was when he got to the Skins all those years ago, right? Like he's just a stabilizing force. If he puts a hat on the running back, he's going to hold him in place until other people get there to gang tackle him. But he's not going to catch anybody, and you can't ask him to guard, cover anybody in the passing game. But very consistent, and the defense. Today the rumor, or it's not a rumor, it was confirmed. Jonathan Allen was practicing with the first team today. very likely that he comes back. FP, I think, is going to be upset about that because the defense, you could certainly argue that they're playing better without him, that defensive front, but having a player of his caliber on the sideline ready to go, even if it's for, 20 snaps, I mean, wow. If he's leading the second unit out there, that's going to be a disaster for Penix and the Falcons.
It's hard not to want him back, right? I mean, come on, like you want that kind of talent on the field, right? And again, like a young quarterback like Penix, granted he went up against the Giants, he didn't see anything that would scare him, like, but you want to throw a guy like Allen at Penix and see if he can still make the same plays that he made last week, right? Like, so I think it makes sense to I mean, yes, the defense is playing better, but when you have a star like that, I think you want him back out there for sure.
For sure. And Lattimore, I mean, Stevie, if you actually watch the whole game, I mean, if you could grade Lattimore, I'm not going to say anything. I'll give you my grade in a second, but grade Marshawn Lattimore's performance.
Well,
just consider what they consider his reputation. Consider that the Saints, the team he came from, basically through 0-0-0, right, the 0-0, the perfect stat line for a corner last week. What is his rating from you this week against AJ Brown?
On a degree of difficulty scale, in terms of how difficult was his job, is probably an 8 or 9. Following AJ Brown around the entire game, I'd probably give him a 6, 1 to 10. I think he played well, and I think he got sloppy with some of the PI calls that were legitimate. But I think he had the hardest job of anyone that's been in a Redskins uniform all season.
Yeah,
I asked him to do too much.
I think so too. I mean, Matt, did you have what was your thought on his play specifically?
I didn't watch enough to say, like, I didn't see all the PI calls, but sometimes I think PIs are the smartest way to play against a guy like AJ Brown. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's not like, I think he was set up in a situation that I don't think he could have done much better than he did.
Yeah, I actually think for what he was, I like the grading on a curve here, Stevie. I think I'm going to steal that from you here. Like, I agree with you. On a curve, AJ Brown, what he could have done to you if he wasn't out there, minimum 6 or 7, right? I mean, that's he still put in a solid performance. He gave up 2 touchdowns, lots of catches here and there. But if that was, BSJ covering AJ Brown for the duration of the game, you're probably giving up a third touchdown, right? Or more yards somewhere else. So, he tweaked the hamstring. Looks like he's going to be out against the Falcons. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, this team is kind of hard to read right now, but overall, I would say he played okay, right? But this is why they brought him in. Like, you traded for Lattimore to come in, and you're never going to stop these guys, the true number one, so to speak, on anybody's team. But can you slow him down? Can you contain him? And he did just enough, obviously, to do that. And in the end, the Commanders win. I mean, it's
the lingering hamstring is the most problematic part of that. Is if you can't get through 2 games without it flaring back up.
Yes.
That's not a good sign for a young guy.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was he was just tired of chasing AJ Brown around too. Like,
he hasn't practiced this week.
I know. I mean, and that's a bummer because you want him out there to basically just zero out someone like Drake London or.
I mean, I was actually chatting with an Atlanta fan. I mean, this Sunday is your playoffs for the Redskins. Because I understand we are in the driver's seat, but the Falcons, if they win out and we lose out, we're out.
If we lose, yeah, Skins win and they're in. I mean, they're in full control here.
Easy.
They're also in with a Tampa loss. So, like, it's really hard for the Skins to miss the playoffs. Really hard.
I'm just saying, this Sunday, you don't want to go to Dallas. I don't know if Dallas is coming here.
We are at Dallas. This is the last home game.
You don't want to go to Dallas, even with CeeDee Lamb out for the season. I do not want to go to Dallas and need to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. But they can beat the Falcons, right? I'm more concerned about this team with Penix under center than I am with Kirk. We talked about this a little bit last week. I think Kirk is done. I think he will be the Giants quarterback next season, right? Because no, why not though? I mean, if you're the Giants and you've already done the unthinkable by not re-signing Saquon, and then you double down on a terrible decision by cutting your franchise quarterback midseason, who has a legitimate Super Bowl shot now, playing backup for Darnold on the Vikings. If you're the Giants, you can roll the dice in the draft on another rookie and continue to stink, or you can get a statue and Kirk Cousins to stand back there and just sling the ball 30 times to Malik Neighbors, right?
Who do you take with the first pick then? Hunter?
I mean, why are you taking Shador?
Oh, I think he's a disaster. I think whoever drafts him and his dad are doomed. I think
I'm scared of that, honestly. But that's why I like
Jerry.
part of what you're saying is appealing. Like you've got this kid Travis Hunter can play the ball on both sides, right? Get a second receiver. You also get a defensive back, right? And then
is Kirk not an upgrade over DeVito?
For sure. Like I would take a season, but the problem is like I would almost want Kirk Cousins to come in, and I'd want the first pick next year too to get the next quarterback coming
that's
out.
Exactly what the
I
Bears
don't trust Shador Sanders,
right? I mean, no, Shador. I'm 100% on Shador Sanders. It doesn't pass the eyeball test, and you can't have Dion calling the shots from Colorado, or even worse, like let Jerry do something.
Unless he's
crazy.
Coming to coach.
Yeah, let Jerry do something nuts down there. I think McCarthy deserves to keep his job, given the. I honestly think the Cowboys, for the amount of injuries sustained at key positions, they've actually fared really well, and they've responded to McCarthy. I don't think that team is that far off where they were last season. He's doing it with less. They have their own problems to deal with. I think the Giants legitimately have a shot at signing Dak or Kirk as a free agent, because if you're the Cowboys right now and Cooper Rush continues to do what he's doing at a literal fraction of the cost, you can't bring Dak back. I know they just extended him, but you got to move that contract.
I don't see them doing that. Jerry Jones, look, you can't trust Jerry Jones to make the smart football play. Like that's what he's shown, right? Like, and he thinks of himself as being too much of a. He's not going to give Dak Prescott $240 million, whatever he gave him, and then just let him walk. That's just not. I don't see that.
The Giants.
He's not. But the Giants are not the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is not the kind of guy who backtracks on his actions. He's not. He'll blame it on McCarthy before he does anything
Jerry also
else.
had a shot at signing Derrick Henry and didn't do it.
Right.
So,
and didn't do it.
And
then when you ask him, he still thinks he made the right decision.
Well, he's insane.
But that's who Jerry Jones is. Like that's who you're dealing with. Like,
but
the guy.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to the Falcons.
Yeah.
We'll talk league at large here. But who you got on Sunday night, Stevie?
No, I think the new era Skins pull this one out.
All right, any chance you're going on Sunday night?
No.
Too cold or no tickets?
I mean, I can only go to Northwest in a suite.
Yeah,
so unless I'm in a suite, that's it.
You and Soto, you both have suite demands. Matt, who you got winning this one, Matt?
I got the Commanders. I don't trust the Falcons at all, to be honest with you.
I'm terrified of Bijan, but I'm going to take the Commanders too. I think this is a, you kind of want Kirk. I would prefer that Kirk was the quarterback. Penix is just a little bit. I mean, there's always a bump when you're playing with, and there's no tape on him, so who knows? But yeah, it'll be a good one. I do want to keep it NFL here. We're going to roll right into the next thing here. The Chiefs, let's talk a little bit about the football that we saw yesterday. I mean, NBA versus NFL. The NBA, for the majority of our lifetime, has owned Christmas, right? Short of a year or two where, it falls on a Saturday and maybe you get a regularly scheduled NFL game here or there. The NFL this year went out of its way to make sure that moniker would begin to die. And the games were not overly competitive. Did you boys watch Christmas Day football on Netflix? What do you think of the 4K too?
I watched it and I got some numbers for you, Joe, just because I'm seeing it on X. Chiefs, Steelers, and Ravens, Texans. Each of them did how many viewership?
We're talking like millions of households number? What are we looking for? I'm going to go 13 million for the Chiefs, and I'll go 17 million for the primetime game. Houston.
At the Met?
I'd flip those. I think the Chiefs drew better. I'd say about 20 million for the Chiefs, and I'd say about 13 for the Ravens. Chiefs,
Steelers 24. Ravens, Texans 24-3.
Oh wow.
NBA.
I want to guess.
Knicks, Spurs.
Which was the highest of the five? I'll guess that.
No.
Highest was Warriors, Lakers.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Warriors, Lakers. I'm gonna 5.1.
No, it was more.
Well, I'd put it at 12, 13.
No. Lakers, Warriors 7-7.
Okay.
Knicks, Spurs 4-9. Celtics, Sixers 5-1. Mavs, T-Wolves 4-3.
The league is dead, boys. I mean, the league that up until very recently, when my kids asked me like my favorite sport, my answer was basketball. Like,
yeah,
we grew up playing basketball. We grew up watching basketball. We grew I'm still a huge Kobe fan. R.I.P. I mean, we grew up watching prime Jordan. We grew up watching like rivalries in the
My
NBA.
kids have zero interest playing basketball. I cannot get them to go outside and shoot a basketball.
Stevie, the league is dead. It's dead. LeBron's legacy will be killed the NBA.
I went to a Wizards game around Thanksgiving, and it was the worst sporting experience. I mean, they've given up. The halftime show was two guys playing video games. They have punted on the season. I mean, who's still going to these games?
No, it's better than the one that they have 3 acts. So I happen to have League Pass. They have 3 acts that go all around the country.
That's not what you're paying for, though.
I get it on a discount. I don't remember. Yeah, I am paying for it, but I'm paying for it on a discount. But anyway, I had to think about it for a second, right? No, look, they have the one lady, this Asian lady who climbs up and like flips plates, right? And then they have this one guy who like puts ladders and stuff and balances them on his head.
Awesome.
And they have the guy with the dog, right? Where he and his dog. Those 3 acts are at a stadium across the country at some point in time throughout this.
I mean, it's crazy. That league has deteriorated.
I love Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry, but he has destroyed the NBA because everyone else thinks they're Steph Curry. And
I've said this before, but I'd like to say it again here. He has done more to impact and change basketball than Michael Jordan did. And I don't know how you debate against me anymore.
No, but Jordan it's not all in a positive way.
I'm not saying positive. I'm saying impact overall. Jordan transcended the sport from a pop culture perspective, right? I mean, right, the Air Jordan moniker, the tongue, like he was a very marketable entity. But dunks existed before him, and lockdown defense existed before him. Nobody shoots threes the same, or the league has changed significantly. Maybe a better way to say it since Steph introduced and the Splash Brothers introduced volume 3s. I will give a hat tip and credit here to the D'Antoni Sons, because I think they started it, right? But this is the logical end of their failed experiment of everybody shoots threes, and that's the end of the conversation. Like, I don't even know how you fix it at this point. I mean, I've heard some crazy theories and ideas about how to fix the NBA, but I mean, it's over. Like, I don't know how anybody can want to watch this because it's become a 3-position sport. That's it.
I was infuriated the other night. I like to watch the Warriors, which is why I think I ended up getting I still like watching them. I still like the style of play. So, but there was a game, I think something like 70 or 80 3-pointers were attempted. Literally, one guy was under the basket for a layup, turned around and passed it out of the paint. I was like, what are you doing? That's not basketball anymore. That's not like, you know what I mean? Like that part of it is really, it's really hard to watch.
What do you do? How does the NBA, Adam Silver doesn't think he has a problem. I think he has a problem.
Neither does LeBron James.
Well, LeBron's had many problems. He had fake graffiti on his house. He pretends to read books. He pretends to know the lyrics of rap songs. He's all over the Diddy parties. He's got all kinds of problems, right? But for him to be so tone deaf last night on TV and warning to the NFL, the NBA, like NBA, we still own this hot. No, you don't. What are you talking about? All the games in aggregate, maybe, okay, but that's not how ratings work.
No, it's not how ratings work, but I will say the nostalgia in me, like it was like, oh yeah, Christmas was an NBA day, right? That's all he's talking about because he's right. Like if you look at the numbers combined,
sure, it's when the season
the 5 games don't make one of the NFL games. Like that's terrible. That's a terrible look. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't like. How
do you fix the NBA? The best crazy rule adjustment I've heard is you limit the number of 3-pointers that can be attempted by a team. Like I thought that was wild, but that could work. If you can only attempt 25 threes as a team, and everything after that is a 2-pointer, like maybe that shifts the emphasis back. Like I don't know. Like I really don't know. But we'll never see another Shaq or a Yao or a Akeem. You'll never see a David Robinson. You'll never see a Rip Hamilton again. Like somebody who's going to kill you with, who's going to shoot 90% mid-range jumpers. Like these players will never exist again because it's dunks and threes.
Yeah, and like, look, the mid-range for a long time has gone. But I mean, KD will still come up and pull up on the mid-range. There are a couple guys who still. But when you ask yourself, But when you ask yourself, should I be shooting from 18 feet, or do I take one big step back to 20, and then make a three, right? Get one more point for a shot that's not that much.
This is where analytics ruin the game, right? I mean,
I agree.
You want to shoot 50% from the elbow or 30% behind the three, and shoot more threes to get the same amount of points, right? I mean, it's I don't know how you fix the stylistic problem that now exists. Where, like, if you go back 20 years, what position does Draymond Green play?
Small forward, probably.
Maybe, right? And what would his job be on the court? It's not to score 20 points.
No, it's not. Yeah.
It's to D up whoever the best player is on the other team and maybe get a bunch of rebounds. Like
Dennis Rodman.
Well, Dennis Rodman wasn't even shooting. Exactly. Perfect example, right? Sean Elliott. Like those second tier studs that we grew up watching, like, they don't exist. Like, there's no place for a lockdown defender in the NBA right now. What does that even mean? Like, Wemby is as tall as a skyscraper. Like, how do you use him? Like, does he exist? Like, I don't know. Like, it's a huge problem, and it's terrible to watch. Stevie, you alluded to the in-person product. The TV product is terrible too. The courts are distracting as hell. The uniforms don't make sense. And then I know this is gonna sound terrible, but I'm out on women refs. They're too, like, just something visually unappealing. Like, I don't know. There's something wrong there. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but I don't know. It's not right.
I like it.
I don't mind the women refs as much as I mind, like, the NBA trying to sell me the WNBA. Like, listen, Caitlin Clark can ball. I am not going to say she can't ball. She can ball. I just don't want to. I just don't want to. I just don't want to watch it. My point is, like, I get to choose what I want to watch. I don't want to watch the WNBA.
I mean, right? I watched more WNBA this past year, Matt.
But I will tell you what, the product is better. Like, the product is actually better. Like, the games are actually, because, to your point, they're still playing basketball for the most part, like, inside. They're still taking the ball inside. Sure. There's still more of an inside-outside game. So,
well, it's a more relatable game. I think part of the reason why people were always drawn, I'm going to speak about us generally. We can all play basketball, right? Regardless of your height and your width and whatever. When you get 5 guys on a court versus another 5, like, you're going to kind of figure it out and spacing and whatever. Like, if we grew up watching this version of the NBA, there's none of that. Like, we're not on the court. It don't work, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this except to say, like, stylistically, I can't relate to this, and I don't want to watch it. Like, there's no the only exception to this, the only real exception I could think of is the NBA Cup, which is a whole other disaster. The NBA Cup final between the Bucks and the Mavs. I don't know. Did you watch any of that, Matt? Stevie, there's no chance.
I missed it. I actually missed it. Yeah.
Final score. I mean, these are 2 of the top teams, respectively. The final score was like 90-84, right? So clearly they can still play defense when they want to, right? There was $500,000 per person to the winning team on the line, right. And lo and behold, everybody showed up to play some defense, and you got a real competitive, old school, NBA game. But all this nonsense and the load management and the whiny superstars, like, it's tough.
I don't get how you pay a guy a contract to play 82 games and be okay with him only playing 65. Then don't pay him for 82 games, right? Like, that part of it frustrates me.
Or don't construct your team around a 40-year-old. How about that?
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, because there's only 82 games a season, I only get one chance to see a guy coming into town. And yes, the NBA has a problem. Like, I'm annoyed if I'm coming to watch the Warriors and Steph isn't going to play that day. And I put down $200, $300 for seats for me and my kids. Like, that's stupid, right? That's a problem. Like, the problem is you've been catering to these guys for too long. Don't tell me about what the science says. Don't tell me that the NBA today is harder than the NBA was in the 90s and the 80s. Like, watching those guys were taking a beating and showing up every single night.
But I just had this conversation with somebody. What is the, just give me the best team you recall from memory in the NBA. Mine is the 2000 Lakers.
96 Bulls by far.
Stevie?
Say again.
Who's the number one NBA team you could think of? Like, the one that sticks out in your mind. I'm on the 2000 Lakers. Matt's on the 96 Bulls.
I mean, historically, it was that 96 Bulls team.
So could you trot out the 96 Bulls and win 50 games in the current NBA? There's no chance.
I actually think they would shut down the shooter.
No.
The shooters, I think they would. I think they would.
Who's Luke Longley going to guard?
Luke Longley's not coming off the bench.
Okay.
No, you're right. Listen, yeah, okay. Kukoc could play in this NBA. Kukoc,
no. He was soft. He could play.
How many threes? How many threes you want out of Michael Jordan on a night in night out?
He couldn't shoot threes. That was all know.
He shot 6. Remember?
That was there's a clip of him after that game saying the 3-point line. It's not good for the game because it makes you fall in love with it. I just saw the clip. We got to find that. He literally said that I got too in love with that 3-point line against Portland, but it takes away everything else from it.
Yeah, there's no triangle offense. The 2000 Lakers, who I personally think would beat the 96 Bulls in a series because there's no answered Shaq.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no answered Shaq. And prime Kobe and prime Jordan edge to Jordan by a hair. Okay, but they're going to cancel each other out.
No. But Pippen canceled Kobe out.
No chance.
On the defensive end.
On defense, he could. Pippen on defense could guard anyone.
He'd guard anybody.
I mean, okay, Kobe destroyed everyone that ever guarded him. So I don't know where that's coming from, but okay. Including Scotty as a Rocket and Scotty as a Blazer.
Scotty as a Rocket. Come on, Scotty as a okay. All right. Anyway,
my point is these teams that we hold in such high regard. Even if you look at the 99 Knicks or the 94 Rockets, right? Teams that were largely balanced for their time, that Akeem, Kenny Smith, Robert Horry teams that were even the Jazz. I mean, these teams there's no way they could get to 80, 90 points against modern NBA players
in today's game because they'd get called for ticky-tack fouls and all that stuff. But if you bring in which of these guys that play today whose game could actually translate into the NBA of the 80s and 90s?
There's a couple. Anthony.
There's a few. LeBron probably still could, right? LeBron, KD, right? KD could actually play. Even Steph could probably find, but there's not a lot of guys.
Matt, that's my point. There's 4 of those guys.
I agree. There's
you look at the Wizards, a terrible roster as constructed from top to bottom. The 2000 Lakers would struggle guarding that team right now. It's just a reality.
Every player now is stronger, faster, bigger,
and shoots threes. Shaq can't camp out at the 3-point line.
I don't understand the point, though. Yeah,
my point is the game is ruined. That all of this to say that you can't. I hate the cherry picking because the Dynasty Warriors we could have beat any team, and that, I think that was probably the last classically constructed basketball team was the 2015,
the 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that was the last classically constructed team. You look at all the champions since it. It's over. I don't know how the NBA gets back to. Because
I'll tell you how.
Hold on, this thing. One last comment on this. The people that care about the NBA are in our age demographic, right? They're not 15 to 25-year-old males that care about the NBA. They care about clips and highlights. People that actually care about basketball are in a 40-plus demo. That's where the money is. That's where the ticket sales want to be. That's the group that's completely faded on Adam Silver's watch. And I legitimately don't know how you bring it back unless you just outlaw the 3-pointer.
No.
Limit it or something like that.
Once Elon and Vivek are done with the federal government,
they'll fix the NBA.
And they'll fix that too.
Shut it down.
They'll fire every woke person in that organization.
Well, that's the entire organization.
People. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know what you do with the 3-point line, but anyway, it's fine.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, we're so get off my lawn right now, but look. As somebody who loves I love the NBA product. I grew up on the NBA product. I don't like watching this version of the NBA product. It's terrible. I like watching the stars because I think the stars are worth watching. Like Anthony Edwards is up and coming. Guy's got a great game, but even he's now shooting more threes than anyone else in the league. Don't do that, man. Your game is so. I used to watch the NBA. To your point about playing basketball, I used to watch the NBA because I used to watch guys do stuff that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Right. Now I don't feel that way. Because I could spot up and take 100 threes and make 20% of them and just that's fine.
That's
I can do that.
That's perfectly said. Yes.
Right.
The dream was always to catch the ball, top of the arc, drive and dunk on your opponent.
And dunk on someone. And Anthony Edwards was saying and John Morant saying I'm gonna dunk less. John Morant is actually a really exciting player. You talk about poverty franchise. He's just no one knows where Memphis is. But I'm saying there are guys like that, like Morant, like Edwards, that actually have talent and play basketball in a way that transcends what most people can do. Well, Steph does too, but Steph has made everybody else think that they can do what he does. and that's just destroyed the league. And it's not Steph's fault, but like he's the one that you point the fingers at.
I mean, how many minutes total did you? There's 240 primetime or nationally televised NBA minutes. I watched 2, maybe. Big 0 from Dark Maga.
I was at my in-laws and they had the game on and I watched it there, and like only because I was in another room and it was out away from like all the chaos that was going on. So, and not actually my in-laws, but like the extended in-laws family. And I was just like, okay, I can't handle that.
So you watched NBA over NFL?
No, at that point it was Warriors Lakers. So that's what was on at that point. So like, and that was a good game, but like, but also I'll tell you one thing that annoys me about the NBA. People go up 28 now and they come back. Like you used to never see teams get blown out by 28 and 30 and like we're seeing 50-point blowouts now. Like just because one team gets hot from the 3 and the other one, it's not a watchable product. It's well, not like,
and unfortunately 5 years ago the argument would have been move the 3-point line back. But you can't do that because they shoot from the logo now anyway. Right? I mean,
yeah.
It's
by the way, another guy who's absolutely sick and can play in any age, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is a baller. Dude he's weak as all whatever, and he complains like way more. But Doncic can ball. Doncic can ball. That dude's lethal. He's got ice in his.
He's not even the best player on his team.
Look, Kyrie, I have my qualms about, but Doncic. I'm telling you, man,
2 players that will never be appreciated by modern NBA fans: Kyrie and Derrick Rose. Those guys will never be fully appreciated. One because he was crazy, and one because he got injured, right? But Derrick Rose was doing stuff that I mean, he was Russell Westbrook on another level, right? I mean, he carried. No, I'm talking about.
Speaking of guys never be appreciated, Russell Westbrook, what either, dude, Jokic.
Wouldn't be better with Westbrook here, just averaging a triple double and maybe getting a win every once in a while. They got 4 wins on the season. I mean, there's probably
Cooper Flag, baby.
Well, yeah, you get that kid right now.
Poop for Coop. That's what you got to do, man.
Whatever. Yeah. Any thoughts on the NFL MVP, Stevie? Who you got? Mahomes,
no,
Josh, Lamar, Saquon, Derek.
It's a quarterback.
Jaden.
It's a quarterback award. So right away you remove Saquon and Derrick Henry, even though they're having incredible years. Saquon may break the all-time rushing record. It's a quarterback award. There's 2 horses right now that are galloping faster and further than anyone else. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Before yesterday, I thought it was Josh Allen's to lose. I still say it's Josh Allen's to lose.
I agree.
Week in, week out, Josh Allen has been the best player in the NFL.
I think you have to give him the edge because people expected a fall off from Buffalo. People expected a steady, hold flat or transcending line, if you will, from the Ravens, adding Derrick Henry, adding like the best running back possible, via free agency. So it's what Lamar is doing. You really can't. I mean, you can't minimize it, but Josh is just doing more with less. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he leads the team rushing.
And he's got the best wins of the season. When you go down to like he's beaten the Chiefs, he's beaten the Ravens, and they've beaten him pretty handily. Like he's got also the best wins on his resume. Where
I don't know if I put too much in that one. The Bucks have beat a bunch of good teams too, and they're
fair. But I'm saying like when you compare Lamar, like you compare who the Ravens have lost to, right, in those same games against a lot of the same competition. Buffalo's actually been winning those games, and the Ravens have actually been losing games they probably were expected to win. So that for me is
what I found interesting yesterday. I couldn't help but think that as great as Lamar was special yesterday, and I couldn't help but think that was such a starkly different Lamar Jackson than who showed up for the AFC Championship last season in the playoffs.
Well, I think they were forcing him to do things he didn't want to do in previous iterations of this offense, right? There was a lot of forced passes once upon a time to OBJ or Hollywood Brown. He only throws really to Zay when he has to, or when the read is totally wide open, because he has a legitimate running back. No offense to Gus or to was it J.K. Dobbins? I'm trying to remember who else that was running back for the Ravens in the past. Derrick Henry's completely different caliber. He has the ability to take over a game himself.
That Lamar Jackson in January next month in the playoffs, let me see that against the Chiefs. Let me see that against Josh Allen.
And
we saw it against the Chiefs in the first game of the season, right? And if it wasn't for Isaiah Likely's big toe, right, maybe things are a little bit different. But
I will say this about, and I don't know if this is really Lamar Jackson is at fault here, but there were games where, because they had Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry was actually dominating, they would go away from Derrick Henry later in the game and then end up losing those games, which I can't remember exactly, but there's a game there are a couple of games where I remember, like, and the question is, why'd you stop giving the ball to Derrick Henry? And it's like, well, we have Lamar Jackson, but then Lamar Jackson doesn't come through and they end up losing those games. Those are the kinds of things that stick with you, would make you lose the MVP. When you, like, rarely are you blaming Josh Allen, except, look, Josh Allen's story in the past was he can't keep the ball, right? He was too many interceptions, whatever. He not only has he fixed that problem, but he's gone almost the other way with it, right? Like, it's rare to see Josh Allen be careless and reckless with the ball. Lamar Jackson still
he's doing it with nobody.
Nobody, right?
He's got nobody.
Dude, they have Amari Cooper now, and Amari Cooper's complaining he's not seeing the ball, right? Like, which is amazing. Like, he's like, he's not seeing, and they're still winning, and he's still, like, putting up 300 yards, still getting 4 to 6 touchdowns a game. Like, what Josh Allen is doing is really, really,
I saw a stat.
Not that Lamar isn't, but
Jim Brown and O.J. Simpson are Hall of Fame running backs.
Juice.
Hall of Fame running backs. You're way too excited about that.
I love the juice.
Hall of Fame running backs with 60
R.I.P.
touchdowns.
Dirtbag. Say R.I.P. Just as he killed people.
Allen has 61 as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's 29. Like, what are we doing here?
Hey, going back to the local kid, I mean,
why isn't Jaden any love here?
Every week we should take stock of the quarterbacks that we would pick over Jaden Daniels, and I think now we're down to 3.
I think it's
There's
1.
more than 3. Come on, guys.
More than 3.
This guy said 1. This guy said more than 3.
He's a Giants fan.
No.
I think it's Allen.
No,
Allen, Lamar.
No.
You wouldn't take Lamar over?
No.
Come on.
You wouldn't take Mahomes over?
He's 5 years younger. Why would I take him? Why? No.
I'm talking about to win a game. Like, what are we talking about, for the future of the franchise, or to play now?
Proves
like,
he can win a game. He's proven he can do it twice.
I'm talking. Do you trust him going into the playoff? What quarterback? Yes. He'll beat Sam Darnold. I wouldn't take him over Jared Goff right now, guys.
Anyone.
Jared Goff plays on a team that I wouldn't take our team to beat their team. Would you take him over Jordan Love?
Yes.
No. I'm not asking the non-homer.
Honestly,
Love over Jaden? No chance. What are you talking about?
Look, did you see what he's been doing?
God.
Okay. Look, maybe not Jordan Love, but I would put them very close to each other. But I would take.
No, you would not.
Here's who I would take right now over, and this is being as impartial as possible. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson,
no.
Patrick Mahomes,
no.
Joe Burrow. Don't forget about Joe Burrow.
I do Burrow before either of those two, but keep going.
Guys, you're crazy. Okay, those
4. You got him at 5.
There's definitely a couple more that I'm not thinking about right now.
I mean, I have him at 2. It's not that far off. Why? I would take the younger guy who's doing it as a rookie. I mean, he's not supposed to be doing any of this right now, Matt.
Look, I don't trust rookies. Like, that's it. I need a guy with a couple years, a couple seasons under their belt and a proven track record. And that's typically what I'll take over. So that's because, like, that's what wins.
Stevie, do you have him as low as Matt does? 5?
I had him at 3.
Lamar?
I have Lamar, Mahomes.
Why Lamar over Jaden? Like, they're the same guy. Why?
No. Lamar
Jaden has a better deep ball.
I think Lamar's legs are better.
Lamar's legs are better for sure.
And I think his arm is just as good. So I think it's close. I don't think it's close with Josh Allen. I'll take Josh Allen any day. Okay. And Mahomes.
How come Mahomes doesn't get an MVP love? I mean, the team has won. They've clinched and lost 1 game.
It's sort of like he's not. It's you can't keep going back to that well, kind of. Like it's like what happened in the NBA. People didn't want to give it to Jokic because he's won it so much. It's the same idea.
Lamar's won the MVP.
But Lamar's won too. Yeah, that's true. Sure. Fair point.
That's why Josh Allen's going to win.
I think Mahomes. I think the Chiefs have risen to a level where people just hate on them. Period. Now, right?
Yeah.
It's the Taylor stuff the last couple seasons, but Mahomes. We saw it with Brady too, right? I mean. The number one sign of greatness is people just hate you for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are playing their best football.
But they can't score points. I mean, they have a loaded offensive side of the ball. They can't get to 30. They haven't gotten to 30 all season.
But
I mean,
but they're winning. They're winning. And the thing is, like, you don't want Mahomes with the ball at the end of the game. Look, I don't care if they've won by 1 point, but every time they're leaving too much time on the clock for Mahomes, and they're pulling those games out. And then they come and they face the Steelers or whatever this game on Christmas. I forget who they played yesterday.
They did, and that
right?
defense was dominant without.
They look great. Yeah, and they look great. And the only team that made them look well, I shouldn't say that because other teams handled them, but the Bills put them in their place. Like the Bills looked that good. And
that's the first game of the season. The Ravens, I think, held their own too, right? I mean,
a lot of teams held their own against them.
Just won that game.
But I give the Bills a lot of credit for that. Yeah, listen, I don't have I probably have Jaden Daniels at 5, by the way.
Why isn't Jaden getting any love for MVP? Where would the Redskins be without him? Most valuable player.
But it's not about that.
But it's not about compared to the other two. He'll
get offensive rookie of the year.
I mean, they should rename the weekly rookie of the week to the Jaden Daniels Award at this point. Nix has won 2 of 15, and Jaden's won all the other ones with the exception of the one we didn't play. So, I mean that's it's incredible what he's doing, right? I mean, did you see him pop up at the Wizards game on Monday night? He's doing all the other stuff.
That was probably the worst decision he made all week.
No, you don't want to tie it. You don't want to hitch your horse to that one.
Does he got somebody?
I mean, he's with his entourage.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about a special lady.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Speaking of ladies, you have the Mystics in the intro. Name me a Washington Mystics player, by the way.
Deladonna. Come on, man.
Yeah, Deladonna.
Come on, man.
She's still there? Elena Deladon. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And you got the owner that's the super racist owner that wants
Shelly Johnson.
Yeah. Stevie's girl.
Sheila Johnson, my bad.
Yeah,
Sheila Johnson, yeah.
She's not dark.
I'll probably get canceled for naming her.
Do you have an idea? Like give me your pick to win the NFC. Lions, Vikings, Packers. It's gonna be one of those 3.
Come on.
Unlikely the Packers. I'm going Vikings, Stevie.
Oh, come on. Stop it. You don't believe that.
I do. I think the Lions have struggled to get these last couple of victories.
Oh, please.
Look,
I can't blame defense either.
I still think it's the Lions. I will say their defense scares me, but I also don't trust Sam Darnold against
who would you rather see in the round one, Stevie?
Between
if you could pick any team, right? Between it's going to be either the Lions, Lions, Vikings, huh?
Lions have the bye.
Yeah, I'm saying. Well, not if they don't.
They haven't solidified it. They've got to win one of the next 2.
I'd rather play the Lions.
Oh, please, come on! I would love to go up north to the Link. That team.
Oh, Philly. Oh, yeah.
That team has that feeling of we are going to implode any second now, and it's just a matter.
Sirianni's yakking at Hurts. Yeah. What are you doing?
It's like the worst coach team. One of the most talented personnel-wise, but a bunch of basket cases. Pete from Philly's a basket case too, okay? He's a good representative. I mean, everything about that team is we're about to implode, and we're about to break up the team. And it's almost like they know that. And so, I would love to ruin that team.
They could upgrade at the quarterback position.
I don't know if they've invested in Hurts, but
I mean, they drafted Wentz and cut him loose for Hurts. I mean, they can do it again.
Yeah, he doesn't have a big contract. I don't know.
I'm saying you just need someone to stand back there and hand off to Saquon and occasionally throw to one of your stud receivers. I mean,
Daniel Jones maybe.
DJ went from the gutter literally to the play. I mean, not just playoff. He's on a contender with the Vikings.
Dude, you see, he still bought the offensive lineman of the Giants gifts, like classic.
I've always liked him as a guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah.
Do you know who his teammate is on the Vikings? Former Commander linebacker, Jamin Davis.
Love me some Jamin Davis. 52.
I know you're the only one.
52.
You and FP. Yeah.
Hey, side to side, one of the fastest linebackers in the league.
Great.
Couldn't tackle anybody.
Trailing the play. Trailer. Yeah, that's great.
Hey, the Lions are the team I don't want to face, and I think they're going to win the NFC. But if you ask me the number 2 team, right down in Northwest Stadium.
I think the Commanders, I don't think anybody wants to play us. And I think that's crazy to say, but nobody wants to face this team. Because
why would you? And,
Well,
and,
that's what I'm saying. Like the Bucks, as good as the Bucks are, right? Like they don't scare you. The Rams are scarier. The Rams to me are actually the scariest NFC team because if McVay can coach, Stafford has done it before. They've got 3 receivers that can any of them can go for 100 or all of them can go for 100 yards between Tutu, Puka and Cup. They have a stud wide receiver, or sorry, a stud running back in Kyron Williams. Like that team is hella loaded, and they only need to play a little bit of defense, but they can go get 50.
That's a good point. The Rams seem like a bad matchup for us.
The Rams, but I also
the Lions are actually. I think the Lions are the best matchup for us.
I'll tell you, don't undersell the Packers. I actually don't think I don't think
Packers
it's a
are
good
crap,
matchup. I don't think it's a good matchup for the Commanders. I'm telling you,
They stink.
I'm not saying no. Look, they don't stink. That's actually watch the games. They actually don't stink.
I mean, the 3 best available running backs all changed teams this past offseason, right? Josh went to the Packers, Derek went to the Ravens, and Saquon went to the Eagles. All those teams are playoff bound, and all the teams that they left are literally 2-win teams.
Are trash. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the renaissance of the running back is in full swing here. Look, the Packers, the reason I don't respect them is that I don't think Love can go get you 250 and 3 touchdowns if he needs to. I just don't think he can do it. I believe in LaFleur, but I don't believe in Love. I just don't.
I don't love Love. I'll be honest with you, but I just don't love the matchup of the Packers. I think their defense is pretty strong. I think they would give JD some problems. That's what I think. I don't love love that matchup.
Frozen field. You can't throw as much. You're relying on B-Rob. Okay.
Right? Like I'm just saying it's problematic. It's more problematic.
You're right. I would rather face the Vikings or the Lions in a dome than the Packers on the frozen tundra.
So just that's
we didn't address the Aaron Rodgers documentary. Did I miss that segment?
We haven't talked about it. Did you finish the whole thing?
I didn't, but I saw on the chat all the positive reactions. I'm very surprised by that.
It was mainly FP, and it's I think he was really struggling to find something to watch. It was a slow cycle, but he was very excited that Aaron wasn't as weird as he thought he was.
What I found Aaron to be was overtly anti-religion. And I'm surprised you guys glossed over that.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know if I would have reached that logical conclusion. I think he's infatuated with himself. He's his own God.
He likes to make it very clear that the Christian upbringing, he wanted to get as far away from.
He wants to get as far away, and I think that's why the ayahuasca. I think all of that, without watching the documentary, I think is very much part of his story. Is and part of his rift with his family, I think, is religion, right? And I think that's not knowing anything else. I do imagine that's going to be prominent in the documentary, and that's not something that I'm going to love.
Yeah, I as someone who's experienced in that, I didn't appreciate that. But he thinks he's smarter than me.
He thinks he's smarter than everyone. Yes.
He thinks he's smarter than everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And his play on the field no longer indicates that he is a better football player than.
He's very bad.
He's average.
He's
average.
Actually his statistics are average, but his numbers are actually the eye test. I mean, the eye test. The guy looks 40. But yeah.
Give Josh that roster. Give Josh those receivers and see what happens. And
some of his underlying numbers, though, actually are telling a difference. Telling a story that, with time and with he might actually be able to do something there. But
no chance.
He's interesting.
He could be the Giants quarterback next year, or
that's fine.
Or Arizona.
Dude, you could be the Giants quarterback next year. The Giants are
I have a friend who's a diehard Patriots fan, right? So he follows the NFC or the AFC East very closely. Right, and he's like, put Drake May on that Jets team and see what happens. Right, give him Drake is. I mean, he's lost in the rookie conversations behind Jaden and Nix, but he's going to be fine. That team is going to be okay.
Drake May was making some throws on that Thursday night against the Bills that I was like, whoa, okay. So whatever. I don't remember when they played. All the days merged together, but against the Bills, Drake May held his own, and I was actually really impressed by that.
Yeah, we had football starting last week. We had football on Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Today, right now, Thursday.
Today, right now, there's
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Which whatever is not the worst thing in the world, but
no, it's not.
Did you watch any Boxing Day games? Did you see any Premier League?
I watched a ton of EPL, and there's more tomorrow.
Dude. Yeah, I missed a lot of it today, but I caught up.
Goal rush in 4K is nice.
It is. It's actually.
Desk, I'm not. There wasn't one game I really wanted to watch today, so I was kind of watching all.
Goal rush is nice. They also now do a multi-view on Peacock. The problem with the multi-view, though, is you can't select what games you want to watch.
It's just too much. I can do it with football because it's 4, right? And there's generally there's commercials.
No, but it's 4. It's 4 on. It's 4 on.
I know, but I'm saying it's so constant that there isn't a natural.
It's very constant.
Your eyes go to somewhere else. That's all.
Yeah.
Stevie, anything final from you?
Nope.
Dark MAGA, nothing. Go run into Rizzo. Give him a piece of your mind.
20. What are we at? Probably 25 days until this country changes.
Did you get tickets to any of the inaugural balls yet?
I'm working on it.
I figured. I know I'm going to see you on OAN TV.
Oh my God, I love that OAN girl.
Yeah, I know you do. Her and Kay Adams. Kay
Adams.
We'll save it for the next
for 5 minutes.
Kay is she
don't even need to touch me. Just hang out with me.
There's something about her. I don't know. I don't know. That entire studio lineup. I didn't want to listen to RG3. Manti Te'o was acceptable. Nate Burleson kind of annoying, but Kay is she's so good at her job. That's all I'm going to say about Kay. Matt, anything for you, sir?
Just happy to be here. The winter. Just can't wait to get to February, but we'll endure with the football until pitches and catches, baby. Pitches.
It's a disease. This baseball is too much. It's too much.
No, I definitely. I mean,
apex of the sports calendar here. We've got this is
we've passed the apex. We're reaching. Look, outside of the weekends with the playoffs, you're in a lull. Be honest with you. So you're just waiting one weekend to get to the next weekend. Because basketball's so trash now. Got the Caps
for you is the World Series window.
The apex for me is October. October is the best time. You've got NFL in full swing. You've got the baseball playoffs. You've got the other starts. The winter sports just starting when they're still exciting and kind of new. That part that's probably the best time.
All right, that's fair. I just there's something about holidays and sports for me that kind of go together. This stretch between Thanksgiving and New Year's is just there's sports on all the time, and it's something I care about. So
I love it. It's just the NBA used to be a part of that for me, and it's just not a part anymore.
No,
so it's all football. I mean,
and
then you don't have any Champions League till late January, so it's just kind of a lull in the week. For me, it's all about having stuff during the week because the weekends are always full of games, no matter what season. It's all about what do you have during the week, Monday to Friday. So.
Enjoy the EPL tomorrow, right? And we get football again on Saturday, so it'll be good. FP and LP send their regards, boys. They're texting on the side here. They were in and out of the chat. We also set an all-time high for number of viewers so the concurrent streams. It's pretty good.
I'll be
shows
next
about
week.
the P boys.
I don't know what that says, but maybe I'll get a call.
Don't worry about it.
Next week.
Yeah, you're always welcome. The chat's always
I know.
welcome. We always try to pull it together. The streak continues, and we'll be back here hopefully after the Falcons lose in Landover, Maryland, or Raljon on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. We'll get in here. Raljon is a throwback, Steve. That one's for you.
There's about 5 people that know about that, and
there's 5 people. That's right, and it's about to be forever sealed in the books because it looks like RFK is a go. Return to DC for the team in about 15 years or so. I don't know how long it's going to take to build that stadium, but I don't know.
That MAG has already begun.
Somebody's got some mojo somewhere, and honestly, Josh Harris deserves a ton of credit because that bill was killed, and he somehow revived it with 0 seconds on the clock to get it done. But it's a big deal. I mean, RFK between Capital One getting, I'm gonna leave this one until next week or next time Stevie's on here. But Teddy pulled a fast one on everybody, right? And in the end, got a brand new stadium basically for 0 amount of work and no money out of his own pocket. But the renders on that building look awesome.
Listen,
all I'm saying, Elon Musk is about to make residence in DC right? And all this stuff is happening in DC. Like, hey, maybe it's you don't have to be so like.
If the Redskins host a playoff game, Trump needs to throw out the first pitch. I don't care what sport it is.
He just goes out there, just set up a baseball mound and throw it.
Exactly.
Just
Have him heave a football from the president's box or whatever from at Northwest.
He's got to be there. He's got to be there.
I mean, it's highly unlikely we'll host anything that it would take a true act of God to get them in position where they could host a game. But it looks like we're going to the playoffs. So, early February, keep the calendars open, boys. We'll see what happens.
That'll be fun. Well, yeah, we'll take a road trip. If they make it to New Orleans, it's a road trip, whether we go to the game or not. We'll do a live show from New Orleans.
We are going.
We've already got accommodation.
I already took care of accommodations. I already got it locked up.
All right. Well,
listen, we made this deal in our youth, and we will stick to it. If your team goes to the Super Bowl, we're going. There's no guarantee you can get another shot at it.
Count me as a +1, baby.
And Nola's awesome. Yeah, I'll go to Nola. Yeah,
I'll go to Nola.
I don't want to go to Jacksonville.
I've never been, but I'd go to Nola.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right,
boys. For Matt the Met, for Stevie, my name is Joe. The show is DTC Defeating the Curse. Thank you for hanging out, watching live with us. You feel free to send comments in anytime. You can also email the show at defeatingthecurse@gmail.com. Anonymity is always guaranteed, so feel free to email anytime. If you're listening after we record, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or whatever they call it now, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Alexa, TuneIn, and basically every other service under the sun. Search for DTC, we pop up. Join us. Always happy to have you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Until next week, my name is Joe, DTC. We are done for this week. The streak continues. We'll be back next week.